There'll be no laughing because Sandy's here and Greg's not. So.
Oh, second time is the charm. I'm sorry that we are late, everyone. It's my fault.
Oh. Well, I think everybody just gets a nice cup of whatever you'd like to drink, tea or coffee, and away we go, right?
Here we are. Yes. Welcome, everybody, to the Saturday Roundup LiveCast.
Good morning, everyone. Well, maybe we should say what happened so we can all laugh together.
Sure, yeah.
We started the livecast. We thought so. We were like saying hi, welcome. We played the intro, and we're not live. So sorry. We started without you guys.
So you missed a very, very engaging conversation about global weather, trends, and the fact that it's still morning for me and I'm drinking my coffee, and that we're so happy you're here to talk about the week that's been on WikiTree. So let's greet everybody in the chat. Amanda was the first one here. So congrats, Amanda. And then after Amanda, we had Ozzy.
Melanie.
Yep, Melanie. And good morning, Dee. And let's see, they were chatting quite a bit. And then Anne Fiordalisi.
Anne is back.
Hey, Anne. Hillary from Wales. Good afternoon. And Susie Carta, hello. Veg Beauty, hi Tia. Let's see, I hope I'm not. Victor is with us, and from Illinois, like me. Evelyn Christensen. Don't recognize your name, Evelyn. Welcome. It's great to have you with us, and thank you for saying hello in the chat. And that might. Anyone else?
Kathy Nava.
Hey,
Kathy.
Yes. Rock tomorrow.
And Chris Ferriolo. And John Tyner. Oh, okay, yes. Margaret Tull. Hello. And Murray Maloney. Murray's a regular. Hello, Murray. And
I see Margaret Tull.
Margaret Tull, yep.
You mentioned her.
Yep.
And Evelyn Christensen says she's watching from Anacortes, Washington.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome. And Lisa, who does our social media. Yeah, thank you for always supporting us that way, Lisa. And there's Biscuit Sandy from Anne. I think I've got everybody. David Dodd, hello. And Karen Stewart. We have a great crowd this morning.
We do.
Awesome. And of course, hello to everybody who's joining after the fact, watching the recording. So our theme for profiles this week is Asian and Pacific Islander notables.
It is. And I'm curious, who are you closest to? So would you guys, as we go through, but feel free anytime to drop in the chat, who are you closest to? This is the kind of the joke that I've been going around all week is that I am closest to Mr. Don Ho. And I don't know, this might be dating myself, but I know that I remember my parents listening to a song, and they would always kind of do a little dance, when they heard it. And my dad would always be really emphasis the tiny bubbles. So I always thought it was kind of a cute song as we go along. But let's go ahead and talk about and celebrate these notables of the week. So a couple things I just want to mention real quick, and I'll mention it afterwards as well. These notables, there are 12 every week. They are listed Tuesday, about in the U.S., Let's just say around Eastern time in the U.S. every Tuesday, we get a new list, and Abby puts the list up. It's curated, and there's a new checkers project team. But I'll hold your thoughts on that. I'll talk about it afterwards. And this week, the theme is Asian Pacific Islanders. I don't know. I get a lot of questions from everybody. How are these picked? If you go to this, and it's always pinned, the features are always pinned on G2G. If you go to any week's pin, you'll see a little link that says help us for next week. So next week is, you see, Sweden. So if you have any Swedish roots, next week is Sweden. If you can help them out, click on the link and go ahead and see if you can nominate any really, really good notables out there that we have on the tree. Let's start off with Mr. Don Ho, Tiny Bubbles. And this is really interesting because he became known for the song and he did not like it. Not like the song.
That happens.
And it's really funny to me because as soon as I saw that he was one of the people picked, it's an earworm now. All week it's been in my head as an earworm. And he's my closest. He's 18. So get a little bit of work to verify him, but not too bad. Not too bad at all. And just to scroll down a little bit as well, he is from Hawaii. And you'll notice just a little bit of trivia, Hawaii territory, because he was born in 1930 before Hawaii became a state.
Sure.
So that's kind of why you see a territory when we're talking about the United States and Hawaii. And then moving on. Now, I just want to say I can not pronounce all these names, so I would rather not disrespect them, but I'm going to try my best to keep going on. So,
wow. And he was my closest, along with Don Ho.
Along with Don Ho. So were they tied to you?
Yeah. You mean by a direct line?
No, or the degrees, were they?
Oh, they were both 20 degrees to me.
They were both 20 degrees.
Yeah.
So
yes, you have me beat.
So yeah. So I don't even want to try to mess up his name. I really feel like I should try though. But I wanted to point out again, this is where it's really great to watch your locations as well, so we can get especially our profiles and notables. If you notice, we mentioned Hawaii territories, but now we're at Hawaiian Islands. He was actually born in 1736. So just because Hawaii is Hawaii, kind of look at the locations and pinpoint exactly where it should be. So he's Hawaiian royalty. I don't know if everybody knew, but Hawaii had their own royal family. And he is actually Hawaiian royalty. And he was nicknamed, excuse me one bit, the puppy is scratching. Okay. He is nicknamed the Napoleon of the Pacific. And he actually unified all of the Hawaiian Islands into one family. And that was in 1810. So this is fairly early on. This is way before the U.S. Civil War, for example, that a royal family came out in Hawaii, and that's what he was known for. He also had many wives. So I think as we help build out the tree and help get the wives more known, that we could probably be connected to him even closer than we are now.
Yeah. I wonder what the state of records were for like births.
I know. Wouldn't that be curious?
Yeah.
You bring up a really good point, because even though Hawaii is a state, at the time it wasn't.
Right.
So what are the records? And as we know, some cultures have amazing handwritten records that go so far back that it's a treasure, and a treasure trove as well. So it would be interesting. Fabulous, really fabulous documentation on his life on the profile. I highly recommend everybody go and take some time to read it, especially if you didn't know that Hawaii had their own royal family, or even if you're into royal families in general, if that's something that interests you. But here's where we talked about that. He embarked on a bloody war of conquest for the other 7 Hawaiian islands and emerged victorious. So when I say that he helped bring them together as a family, as a lot of times, sometimes it does involve a bloody or you have to conquer it.
Yeah.
So it's a fascinating story. Definitely read up on his life and what he accomplished as the Napoleon of the Pacific.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, moving on, Lim Kwang.
Yep.
Lim Kwang. Okay, in Canada. So we've got somebody from Canada, which is very cool as well. So, and managed by the Canadian Project. This is a football player that was inducted to the Canadian Sports Hall of Fame. And what is interesting about him is he's the first Chinese Canadian CFL player. And the CFL is a Canadian football league. So he's a trendsetter here. And he played high school in football and then got picked up by the Canadian Football League when, this is interesting, when they first allowed Chinese players. So there's probably more that we could research there and figure out why that was the case, but he was the first. So he was a groundbreaker. And then when he retired from football, he became a stockbroker. So a very interesting life, how he did what he loved, football, got picked up, became groundbreaking first, and then moved on. He had a career, had a full career. Okay, moving right along. Matsushita? No, I'm going to say it wrong.
Matsushita. Matsushita. Yeah.
And as
my best attempt.
I'm going to guess that if you look around your house right now, that you have something from Panasonic in your house. And if you don't, have something Panasonic in your lifetime, especially when you start talking about appliances, TVs, the music devices we listen to and things like that. So he is the founder of Panasonic, and he started his career with light sockets, just trying to improve light sockets, and he had 3 employees. That's it. Light sockets, 3 employees, and that turned into Panasonic. So that was pretty amazing. As most of you know, that Panasonic is, very easily one of the world's largest electronics empire that we have. And he is referred to as the god of management in Japan. It says in Japan, but I think as I did research, he's pretty much referred to that across the board, across the globe. And he was born in 1894 to a wealthy family. But this is really interesting. So he's born in 1894, and now look, he is the founder of Panasonic, and look where he's gotten with it, with just those 3 workers. When I first looked at this, I thought he was going to be born well into the 1900s, but no. He was born just outside in 1894. And something else that I had, and I don't know if this is an off-brand, they have brands that they make that are less expensive. It's QSAR. And I've had those in my home. I can't remember what it was, but I think it was the TV, but don't hold me to it. So even though we say Panasonic, he had different other brand names that he produced.
I recognize National and Techniques.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? And you just think Panasonic, but then they have these little offshoots. So that's pretty cool. Okay, moving right along. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce the name, but I do believe, and this is where this wonderful lady, a little bit confusing for me because she is known by also a different name, Ando, but she also has a sister that is also known as Ando. So this is where my research got a little confused, but they are both wonderful actresses, or sisters actors. And I'm going to say that this wonderful lady, Andu, created a film based on her novel. So to write a novel is one thing. If you're a writer out there, even writing biographies on WikiTree, you know how much it takes to do that. Think about writing a novel. And then she takes her novel and writes the manuscript for it and directs. I mean, that's amazing to me that somebody can do both. It's not often that happens. So she is the older sister of Vandu on her mother's side, and they have tremendous amounts of history. This family is linked to the prime minister that was assassinated in 1932. She is very big into filmmaking. She attended New York University, which is well known as one of the better places to go if you want to learn about filmmaking. Wrote her novel, became a screenwriter, wrote the manuscript, and then directed and shot the film. And I Betsy, if you could help me, Kodashi?
Yeah. Wait a second. Which is it?
The
Kochishi.
Kochishi.
Yeah.
And then something I didn't know could happen. She married a Buddhist monk. So I thought monks were mostly solitary. And so there's more to the story there. And they did have a daughter and ended up divorcing. But look at the sources. To me, this is wonderful when you see a WikiTree profile in the language of the person. And I just respect the work that somebody put into this. And they put in the English version, the Japanese version, and I believe this would be you don't say Chinese version. I believe it's, nope, it's not going to tell me. But this is just for those that are international and global that might be researching this line, might be curious about this line. This is what's called cousin bait. Because if I don't speak the language of English, I might speak a different language. So I will find this because somebody took the time to not only do the sources in her native language, but her name and her family's name. So
right. I think. Oh, sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think I know what the confusion might be with the last names. I was looking at her biography, and so I know for sure in Chinese culture the surname goes first.
That's it.
So the fact that she is the first daughter of Ando Toyaki, and then she's the older sister of actress Ando Sakura. So I think that's what's going on.
I think that's brilliant, Betsy. Thanks.
Yeah.
That's right. Because when I first was doing research, I thought, is this something that needs merged? Is this, what's going on here? And I couldn't figure it out. So I said, let's dig a little deeper. And we just did. Thank you.
Sure.
That's brilliant. Okay, let's move on to Noriyuki Morita, but that's not how we know him, right? So I think everybody else knows him as Pat. So this is kind of really cool that he is here as well. He's just a beloved character to me. I mean, how can you not think of him and smile? He is just such a beloved character to me. I don't know. He's fabulous. And as you know, that he was an actor, and he's best known for Karate Kid and Karate Kid series. But if you watch the original Karate Kid, I mean, that is just classic. That is just the classic, any Hollywood type of movie. It helped launch the career for him and his not just his other main actor, but the co-actors that were there too. So this was a pretty big movie, but it was at the time, it was, I think, really getting the Asian culture into Hollywood in a mainstream way for children, which is really, really cool. So and I gotta agree. He just really was awesome. He was so funny. If you look at him, he's so funny. And thank you for mentioning this, Mel, because Happy Days. That's when I first met him. Was on Happy Days.
Wait, what did he do in Happy Days?
I think he was the cook, the chef, I think.
Oh,
wow.
I'm gonna have to check back. I don't remember that.
I think everybody in chat, check me. Oh, there you go, Victor. He took over the diner. And the funny thing about Pat Morita is that we pretty much know him for the movie The Karate Kid as going. He had no martial arts training at all. Did not know it, did not know how to do it, did not practice it, did not have anything to do with it before taking the role, and he earned an Oscar nomination for that role.
Wow.
So to me, that shows if you didn't know how to do something, it's the title of the film, and you want an Oscar nomination, you're a pretty good actor. Already learned one too. So that was really cool. And look at his smile. I mean, you just got to smile when you see it. And then moving on to Yoko Ono. I think there's probably not a person around that doesn't know her name associated with John Lennon of the Beatles. And something about her that most people don't realize, she was not just a date or a wife, or a girlfriend. She wasn't just that. She had a full career well before the Beatles. She was an artist. She was not a musical artist, even though she has recorded with John Lennon, but she had a full career in education before she even met John Lennon going on. So a lot of people will just think of her as the wife, but she is so much more dynamic and a lot more details about her on her profile than being just known as John Lennon's wife. And I will say this too. I love the two sons. I love her son. I follow him on social media, and he's a hoot as well. And you could definitely see her influence coming through and the music that he produces. And he recently made a documentary about his dad and his mom, Yoko Ono. So that was pretty cool as well. She does, do some musical collaborations, but mostly it's her helping her son, not necessarily singing on his work. But definitely check out her work. As I said, she was an artist and she was quite well known before she met Lennon. But when you start dating a Beatles, your previous life is probably
that eclipses everything. Yeah.
And especially if it was John or Paul, you're gonna be eclipsed by their spotlight and everything going on. Okay. Ming Pei, and I think he goes by I.M.
I.M.K. Yes. Wonderful architect. Yeah.
This was I had no idea. So if you've ever been to Paris, you have probably been to the Louvre, or you've seen it. Or if you haven't been to Paris, you know about the Louvre. This is a familiar place that comes to mind. You can probably picture what the Louvre looks like. Very controversial building. It was not instantly loved. And this gentleman is the architect of it. He came up with the design. And when I say not instantly loved, I'm being kind. It was really, truly disliked and hated. But now it is hailed as a modern architectural icon. And that's why I started this with, if you think about the Louvre, and if you probably a picture comes to mind of what it looks like, and it's all due to this particular gentleman. We're talking about the Louvre in Paris, and he is a Chinese-American architect. So to me, that's a blending of the cultures and blending of what his vision is, makes it even more impressive. And he's known for his creative use of the modern architecture in the natural elements. So he tries to fit his modern into what's existing, as opposed to sometimes if you go to a local park or something, you'll see a nice quaint park, then you'll see something modern. It just doesn't fit, But now we look at the Louvre, and it fits perfectly. It just fits in Paris. Paris has become a city of lights that's more modern, and partly because of his work. So really impressive. And he's also in the Rock and Hall of Fame because it was one of his design projects.
Oh.
Kind of when I was researching, I was like, what are you seeing? No. he designed. And it was one of his projects. And as they say, this is not an exhaustive list. There's a lot more. So definitely go to his profile and check out and click on the links, as you can see some of his work and a presidential library. Really impressive that what he's done. And again, he is Chinese American in bringing his work around the world in a modern way. So it wasn't loved at first, but now it's just such an icon. I can't imagine thinking of the Louvre without thinking of certain sculptures, paintings, and that glass building. So that was pretty cool to find out as well. Okay. Cosno Sukarno?
Cosno, yeah. That's how I would say it. Sukarno. Yeah.
And I'm really thrilled too, because we're stepping out into a different territory. This is the power of WikiTree. As you know, we have the global project on WikiTree, and we're talking about somebody from Indonesia. And this particular gentleman is the first president of Indonesia. But, that's really cool. But he came up with the name Indonesia by putting two Greek words together. So that's what was, let's see if they talk about that too in here. I love this particular profile. If you'll notice, is in two languages. Again, if I am not an English speaker, but I might be related or a native or have roots from Indonesia, and I can look at a simple Google search and find him, and this is cousin Pete, because now my language is also being representative. And I'll just click on this real quick, and it comes down to, there's a Wikipedia article about him, a little bit of information about him in English as we start to go through. And as you know, that Indonesia was originally a Dutch colony, but he became the first president. And that's kind of how he became known. I love this profile. If you look at, I just love the profile. It explains everything in his native language and the English language, as well as documenting, full document. So they didn't take shortcuts, I guess is what I'm saying. They didn't just say, here's the English version, go look at it. They fleshed out the biography perfectly on WikiTree. Okay, moving along. This one's tough to pronounce. I won't even try. But he is pretty well known, and I'm going, everybody, if you have not looked already at who he is, you might be able to tell from his picture. So can anybody guess?
Yeah, an emperor.
Of what he might have done in his life? He was
not at all.
He was a shogun. And how cool is that? We got a shogun on the featured list. And look at this, from 1543. This is exactly why I love this particular theme this week, because there are those rich records going back that are traced. And the photos that are, I should say portraits, not photos that they have. So it's just really, really cool. So he actually ruled Japan for a little bit of time, and part of a royal family in Japan. He had to wait his turn, I guess is the best way to say, as others passed away above him. And then he changed his name when he became the first time that he ruled. So it's just really fascinating, though, to see the history here on WikiTree for 1,500 profile from Japan. It's just very interesting. And I want to thank whoever did the work on this, because this is really amazing work that he did. If you've ever been curious about shoguns or about royal families or Japanese royal families, I highly, highly recommend you take the time to come look at this profile. And it won't take you long to read it, but take a few moments and read it, because he's such a fascinating character, but it gives you insight to a culture that you might not have been exposed to before. And because of the weekly featured were able to get exposed to this type of culture and this type of new to me. It was new to me. I loved it. It was really great. Okay. And I mean, who would ever guess this is, this wasn't on my bingo card of 2025 that I would be talking about a Shogun and looking at his history and his genealogy. Okay. So, Umiki? Did I get close, Betsy?
Umiki? Yeah.
And she was an actress as well. And she is the first Asian woman to win an Oscar. And I don't know if you guys like old black and white movies. Do you guys like old black and white movies? And then when they transition into like the really weird colored movies that's kind of muted color and everything. So if you've ever seen Sayonara, I remember watching the movie. It was always on like Saturdays or something, these old movies. And that's where she won her Oscar. To just win an Oscar is impressive. No doubt. No doubt. But I want everybody to think about it. She won for Best Supporting Actress in 1957. And the culture of the world and the culture in Hollywood was very, very different than it is now. And in 1957, it was very tough for other cultures to not only break in to quality roles of Hollywood, but to win an Oscar is just unheard of. And she was first. I mean, it almost gives me chills to think how she was there in the audience and heard that she won, probably thinking there's not a chance in this world I'm going to win. And she did. So it's amazing that she came over from Japan, became an actress in a really incredible time in Hollywood, and then won the Academy Award. The other thing I wanted to mention is she's also a Broadway star, and she had a leading role in Flower Drum Song, another really, really cool play by Rodgers and Hammerstein. So that was interesting to me. I just can't picture her sitting there thinking, I'm never going to win. I'm never going to win. And probably one of the ones that almost everybody knows, Michelle Yeoh. And I agree. I just want to point out, I agree. It's blessing in disguise. It's hard to break in, and you never know when you break in and what becomes. So I love Michelle. I love everything she does. She is so diverse. She's an actress, and she is incredibly diverse. And I guess the first question I have for everybody is how many people saw Hidden Dragon, Crouching Tiger? Yeah. I always get the back. I mean, the cinematography in that is just amazing. She has actually done so much film. She's been in so many films. If you go look at her IMDb, and if you do, make sure that WikiTree is linked over there. Be a link builder. You'll be amazed at some of the things that she was in that you maybe never knew. And then you'll start thinking back and go, oh yeah, I remember. So it'll be interesting if you go look and see. I was really surprised at some of the things that she was in, but she was behind the scenes. And she also won Miss Malaysia.
Oh,
just a little bit
amazing.
That's right. I did look at this bio, and yeah, she started as a dancer. Yeah. And then segued into acting.
I cannot imagine her not acting. I mean, she's so natural. She just really, really is. I know that she is the first Asian woman to win Best Actress. Let me get that right. Make sure I say that right. I know that the last movie, the movie that she won for, I remember my kid just like, you got to go see it. You got to go see it. You got to go see the movie. And he goes, it's one of the most interesting movies that you got out there. And I can't believe somebody acted it and figured out how to act in the differences of realms, I guess is the best way to say it. So she did. So, and she was in Wicked. Interesting. Did not know that.
Huh.
Very interesting.
And she even had a CD. She sang something, I saw. How talented.
She
released a single CD.
She could be like, she could get awards and be an EGOT probably with Broadway, and now she's got the Oscar, so she's got that. So if she has a CD, she could maybe even get, the awards for musical. But she's a Critics' Choice nominee, an Independent Spirit, but she's and a Golden Globe. I mean, the awards go on, and they're rightfully deserved. And I'm thrilled that we're also able to show you a living notable, because we've been showing a lot that are not living. So I am thrilled that we're able to show you a living notable, and you might recognize this is really fairly new, that there's a new kind of project nested under notables, and it's called the Living Notables project. So if you see that, and chances are you're going to see Scott or David's name attached with that. So we're able to show living notables, and there are rules for that. And I would reach out to Scott and David about what the rules are. But we have kind of a new project nested under the notables, and it's called Living Notables Project.
I think that's going to be really helpful.
I think so too, because I love, think about it. So we went from 1528, and now she was born in 1960s somewhere. And the span, we wouldn't be the same without each of these individuals that we've shown along the way. We've shown you some actors, authors,
architects,
it's just amazing. Presidents, kings, and out of management. So it's pretty cool group. And as we go through, remember that next week is Sweden, and we will talk about Sweden next week. Actually, Greg will. Moving right along, I just want to mention there's another new project that just came out this week, and it's called Connection Checkers. And this is cool. This is like the first project built around, I don't want to call it a game, but it is. But it's a first project kind of built around the game. How many of you have played Connection Checkers on G2G? That's where you play it. It's what we do is we take the featured profiles of the week. We take these profiles, and then everybody comes down and verifies the connection. Make sure there's a source. Make sure that the parent attached is truly the parent or the child or the husband or the wife. And then what we do is those that are playing, they'll point out the answers. Well, here's our tree elf, and her closest week is 20. So what she's working on this week is connecting and verifying each profile. So it's about 19 profiles. However, if you assume that yours is correct, then you've got 19, right? So you're already on your way. And what I wanted to point out, though, about 11 still need to be checked. So when you start playing Connection Checkers, you get used to some of your immediate family and your ancestors already being proven. So by the time you get the new list every Tuesday, you might be surprised, as Aowen said, she had 20 degrees, but 11 of those steps just need to be verified. The rest were already verified and confirmed. So pretty cool. And then Mr. Darren of New Zealand every week also gives out the award for who won on the shortest and who confirmed the most and the longest feed. So it's a lot of fun. And there's Miss Betsy. How's it going, Betsy?
I finished last night.
Yay.
And I chose, Yoko was not my closest, but there were some people along the path that I was interested in. So I chose to verify her, and I had 11 check marks to get. Don't forget that when you play the game, you look at the relationship, you see if the source is convincing, and if it is, then you mark the relationship as confident. And that's what, you scroll down a little bit more, Sandy, I put the photo. Yeah, and so you will see little check marks next to each of the relationships.
It's kind of hard to see, but they are there. And if you go look at your own, you'll see that's new. That's fairly new. I think that's 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks old, that now you can kind of see. Why is that important, or why are we bringing that up? Let me bring up Mr. Don Ho. And the reason why this is important is I can see that if I just bring him up for the first time, I can see, oh, well, half of them already have check marks, already verified. So let me start in the middle. And that makes the game so much quicker. So if you do make sure, as Betsy said, make sure that you do click on that check mark because it's helpful to the community at large.
Yeah. And it's addictive. I can that on Tuesday, I kept every 10 minutes. I'm like, is it up yet? Is the list up yet? I got it. Who's going to be my new path to verify?
And you know what's funny about that is even though we know the theme, we don't know the people. And we don't know our connections. So it's always like, oh, am I going to get a close connection this week? Or I'm still trying, I think 42 degrees is my furthest that I've ever had. So I'm always curious, is someone going to beat that?
May I add something? I usually, being from Chile, I usually connect with others, like from the two same people, right? Because they meet someone outside in other countries. But this week I wasn't going to play because I said these ones are too far for me. So, but for the first time, I connect with someone from a different profile. So now I'm really curious and I want to play it. So that's a good thing of this challenge too.
And you know what's kind of really fun for me is the community that we build on G2G. I remember a couple weeks ago there was one little tricky connection for most of us that were playing, and somebody took the time to really dig in and research in the unindexed files, and they found that the connection was false. So we had all been working on pretty much the same connection, and a lot of us were around 15, 16 degrees. And this person came up on G2G and said, I'm so sorry. You're probably going to be much further because I had to disconnect and then connect. So then by looking and being part of the community on G2G and commenting, we all rushed out to say, yep. but we'd already pretty much confirmed a lot. So all we had to do is confirm just an easy little piece in the middle. But we would have never known that if the community wasn't talking to us on G2G and hanging out. And there's sometimes we'll get somebody who will say, hey, it's during the winter when I was on G2G, they'd be like, it's really 5 inches of snow. And then next week it's up to 10 inches of snow. And here's who I'm connecting this week. One little thing I want to mention that's different for G2G that we're kind of making a little difference is you'll notice that we're asking people to not just come in and drop all your connection list. That's really cool and we appreciate it. But what we're asking you to do from now on is just drop a link to who you are going to work on. And for example, I could have gave my entire list of 12 here, but I didn't. I just said I'm going to work on Don Ho first. And so I came in and verified him. And then I just did a simple edit. And you could do, as Betsy did, include a graphic of all the links or just provide a link. Both are fabulous and excellent. Both work really, really well. So instead of just dropping, hey, here's who I'm connected to this week and running out to the grocery store, just tell us one by one at a time who you're verifying. It makes it a little bit easier to read and be part of the community and the conversations.
Sandy, are we still offering? I remember in sort of the previous incarnation of Connection Checkers, we were offering assistance. Like if someone got stuck.
Yeah, and that's a really good point because if you get stuck and you can go on you can either post it on G2G, you can say, I'm trying to verify Don Ho, and then you go off and verify, but you're stuck. So you've got a couple options. You can come back to G2G and just put in caps, help, and we'll come in and we'll help if you give us an idea of where you're stuck. And we've got a team that comes in and that will help. And we're asking for more people to help be on that team because a good example is I have zero clue about how to research in Japan. I just don't. It's out of my wheelhouse. So I might reach out to Betsy and say, can you help me out? I'm looking for a little bit of help researching and finding the connections here. And I'm always amazed that sometimes I get a lot of people from Europe that come to me and say, I have no idea how to research in Pennsylvania. Can you help? And Pennsylvania can be a tough state. Can you help? So what we're trying to do is assemble a team. So if you've got a particular area of expertise, and yes, I'm talking to the Aussies because I see them right now. So Aussies, sorry. Then I would like for you guys to just sign up to be a member of the Connectors Project and say, I'd like to help anybody that needs research over in my particular wheelhouse, my particular part of the world. And you can also come down and ask for help on the profiles as
or
well.
on Discord. There's now a Checkers Discord channel.
There's been one. There's been one. What happens usually, which is interesting, if you ask for help on G2G, it automatically gets put into that channel, and we kind of look at it. And we've got some members that are looking at Discord constantly, so they can pick up and help sooner. So we've really done a lot with this project. We've got two teams. We've got the Notables Checkers team and then the Game Checkers team. The Notables help get these profiles into the shape that you can look and see if you're connected, better CC7 numbers, better biographies. And then over on my side, on the game side, we're the helpers, we're the cheerleaders, we're the game players that are there with you step by step, saying, let's have some fun with this. It's no surprise. A lot of people come to WikiTree because of Notables. That's what interests them. I can't tell you how many people have come to WikiTree and come into my project and say, hey, I'm related to Elvis, so it's just one of those things that is fun. It's a fun thing to do with genealogy. And I always say, and I've said this a lot when I was at Roots, genealogy can be lonely if you're just out there. So this is a way to have fun. It's weekly. You get to be part of the community. You start to get to know each other more and more. And people that you maybe would never met. And it's just kind of fun. So.
Thank you for mentioning that, Sandy, because I usually, as I said, connect through the same two people, and one of them is someone I can verify first because it's Russian, and second because it's a notable. So I'm not sure if every notable has records when they are very, very old. So I should have asked for help. And a good way to ask for help is maybe leaving a note on a profile, because somebody else, well, of course we have Discord and the GTD, but if you leave a note on the profile, then somebody else is probably connecting through the same people and trying to verify them. So
and that's true.
That way we could connect too.
Really great point, because they might not be playing checkers or they might not be on Discord. So you make a really, really good point with that. So leaving that note or comment, it opens you up to even a bigger community within WikiTree. That's a fantastic point. Thank you for mentioning that. But like I said, it's about fun. And Connection Checkers is only focused on the 12 featured profiles a week. I noticed a couple of people mentioned the Connectors Project and other things in Connectathon. We're not necessarily connectathoning. We're already there. The Notables part of the team is already taking care of that for us, so we get a higher CC7. So we're already there. So come join the fun. It's like Betsy said, every week. Even though you know the theme, you never know.
Yeah. And for me, I feel like the half of the trail that's closer to me is of interest to me because they're probably within my CC7 circle. And then once I get to that farther, closer to the target person, then it's taken me into it's taken me back to Scotland and using research skills. Last week, I did a lot in Canada, and the Canadian project on Discord was hugely helpful to me in sorting some things out. And the last 2 days, I worked on a LDS leader. pioneer.
Yeah.
And, his profile was orphaned, and he was quite a story. So I kind of spruce things up as I go along, and very interesting.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the other thing. My OCD won't allow me just to look and go. I gotta like kind of spruce things up, like you said. It's I don't know. I just gotta spruce and neaten. But you never know. You just never really know. I always find it fascinating when I find that I connect through a line that I never, ever, ever, ever connect through. And then I'm like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah, that's what happened to me this week. Yeah. And it's like traveling. Every week I'm in a different country, like France, Germany, Russia, Spain.
And I'm glad that you're mentioning those countries, because come join us on the Connectors Project. So even though you think that you might not be able to have ability to help, you do, because your expertise is your expertise that maybe somebody else doesn't have. And Vicki mentioned Russia. There's no way. There's no way I could research those. But somebody here can.
Yeah.
So definitely come join us, be a cheerleader, be a helper, work on the notable side to help beef up the dog in CC7. And you become a community.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, shall we look at question of the week?
Yes.
So in keeping with what we just, the profiles we were just looking at, question of the week is, do you have any ancestors from the Pacific Islands? And what I thought would be fun for this, because it's what I ended up doing, we had 8 answers, is I did a geography lesson. So because it really was taking me to places within the Pacific that I had heard of, but I really couldn't go right to them on the map. So I'm going to have 2 screens going here. Now I didn't know at all about the Pitcairn Islands. Sandy, Vicki, do you know about them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I didn't. They are right here, so you can see to the west of Australia.
I was going to pause because I was like, do I answer or do I wait for the couple in the chat to answer?
Well, I can never tell how much of a delay we have with the chat. So, these are, I think there are 4 of them, and they are volcanic. So only one of them is inhabited. And there was, let's see, one of the answers at the very end pointed out, said, R. Galloway said, no ancestors, but Fletcher Christian is my 11th cousin 7 times removed. And I thought, well, all right, let's find out about Fletcher Christian.
Great name.
And, and so the history with these islands is that there was a mutiny on the HMS Bounty, and the mutineers, and Christian was one of these, ended up going to, here's a picture of Christian over here, going to, they were, cast off from the ship, and they went to, eventually they landed on Pitcairn Island. And their idea was that they were going to settle there and live with the Tahitian people who are already living there, and they were going to turn it into a utopian community. And this, whoever wrote this bio said, this was ill-conceived. And 3.5 years later, 1793, 5 of the mutineers, including Fletcher Christian, were killed by the Tahitians. But not before he married a Tahitian woman, and they had 3 children, and so very, very interesting story. Now let's see.
Again, you never know until you become part of a community,
right?
And they share.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Judith Brooksbank says, no ancestors myself, but my sister-in-law is from Sarawak in Borneo. So all her ancestors are from the Southwest Pacific region. So let's see here. There's Sarawak in Malaysia.
Mm-hmm.
William Beers tells us that his wife was born at San Sebastian, Samar in the Philippines. And she has immediate family on Panay, Cebu, Negros Oriental, and Luzon. Cousins also living in Australia and New Zealand. So let's see, San Sebastian. Oh, I can't believe I shouldn't jinx it, but I was worried I was going to get on live and be like hunting for all of these. So far, so good. San Sebastian. There we go. And this cluster up here is for me because, as many of you know, my family is from Taiwan.
I was hoping you would share.
Yeah. So my father came to the United States from Taiwan in the 1950s, and our family is from Taipei, although originally they came from Guangzhou in Fujian, and they came over during the 19th century, so have been in Taiwan for quite a while.
What year did most of the exodus from
Taiwan
happen in your family?
You mean my father came over in 1952?
That's what I thought. I thought it was your dad.
Yeah, my dad. So he was the first to come. He was one of 12, 10 of whom survived to adulthood. So he, of his 10 siblings, then not everybody came over, but a good half dozen came over, followed my dad. And I have other aunts and uncles who stayed in Taipei, and so I have cousins there. And
I mean, it's just, if you guys think about it, we talk about migration and immigration and immigrants all the time. This was a journey, and he was the first, so he was a pioneer in your family.
Yeah. And one thing that I think is so cool is that at the time it was a journey, and he was given this very ornate card by the airline, like they put his name on it. You have crossed the international date line on this date.
How cool. Now you get something thrown at you in a bag.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know if they had like a typewriter back in the So let's see. Georgina Salazar says, absolutely, our family is Samoan on my mother's side. So let me come in a little bit more. Let's see, Samoa, Tonga. No, not Tonga. There's Samoa.
There.
Yes. Yeah. I bet somebody in the chat would be able to say, I should know this myself, but I'm looking geographically at Taiwan and then these other locations. I don't know if Taiwan really counts as South Pacific.
Oh.
It's kind of north.
Interesting.
So yeah, that is a question. Cinda Lalil says, no ancestors, but my ex-husband is from the islands of Tonga, which is right here. We had 4 children, and my daughter's been doing some of the family history. The missionaries came in the early 1800s and apparently married into their family, but sadly, no one remembers their name. I hope that you get that information.
Betsy.
Yes.
The theme for this week was Asian Pacific connection.
Oh, so, okay.
I think it counts.
Okay, so it counts. Yes, I can be part of the party. That's good. Now, Sandy had a lot of difficult names to pronounce, and there was a comment. Let's see, can I go bigger on this and then come over? Nope. There. So this was in response to Cinda's comment. Said that who was it? Rod Corkum wrote that he had a very distant cousin, Jordan May, who sadly passed away young, and his wife was from Tonga. And it seems that she maybe gave them middle names, because you can see here on his headstone, it's very long, and I'm not going to attempt it. But, yeah,
it's amazing. The tombstone marker, it has so much detail.
Yeah.
From a genealogical perspective, it's fascinating to me, along with the picture.
You know, we were talking about birth records, and I know a lot of cultures will sort of display at least part of the genealogy in a name, and I have to wonder if this name somehow represents that he was the son of somebody else, and the son of I don't know, just a guess. Because this is a mouthful to yell at someone from down the road. Hey.
Yeah, it
is. Let's see. Melanie said that one of her New Zealand cousins was born in Tonga, while her grandfather was a missionary there. And her father was Tongan, but she grew up in New Zealand. Interesting. Sharon Harper wrote, let's see, so go back to my map. So I wasn't familiar with this term, but Sharon wrote that her husband's great-great-grandmother was blackbirded from the islands to New Zealand. She ended up in the Pikiri area, married and had a family, but her original family name and history is still unclear. Her name was Kitty Fian, so they think it might be a derivative of Fijian, but not sure. And they still have a lot of research to do. So yeah, blackbirding was the practice of, I don't know if I still have it up. I did look it up, of bringing people over to New Zealand to do labor. And it was, they labored for a period of years and then were allowed to go home. So, and yes, Reginald Coulter says, if New Zealand is considered a Pacific island, I looked it up, it is, then I have relatives and ancestors from Wellington, and there are a huge number of fellow Coulters living in New Zealand. So that's our question of the week. I have a feeling next week's question will be, do you have Swedish roots?
There's a couple of questions in the chat, like why was somebody from Australia not picked for the feature? I can't answer that, but I can guess. Australia was featured for all 12, not too long ago. But also, we don't want to overwhelm you with 20, 25 features of the week. So it's 12, and it is a tough choice, I imagine, to get down those 12. So I'm not, I can't answer the question, but I do know that Australia was featured. Now, and also Mel mentioned that they stopped adding suggestions each week, but please, or Amanda, please don't stop, because one of my projects, we nominate each week and we don't get in, each week. Sometimes it's just not our week. We usually can't make it an Appalachian Swedish, but we did have an Appalachian from Australia for Australia Week. But we still nominate. We're still out there, because it's kind of like we say for the lottery here in the States, you got to play to win. So please keep nominating. And I every week, you never know. You never know. And I put a link in for the connection checkers. And somebody asked, is this the Connectors project? This is a separate project, so I put that link in too. But,
Every member's perspective, wherever they're coming from around the globe, is so valuable.
it really is.
We just can't afford as a community to be deprived of your voice and your perspective and your expertise. So,
and they are looked at. They they're not just dismissed. It's because I know I have no say, by the way, on who's picked, and I'm very thankful for that because that's a tough decision. But I still look at everybody that nominates. I'm like, oh, who is this? And I still look at it, and I look at the G2G post. So definitely, you never know. You just never know. And I will say, my project, one of my projects, we rarely get picked. It's just we're kind of maybe more niche, but it's fun. Like Betsy said, you never know until Tuesday.
And there are so many ways to participate. I mean, you can post a photo of your ancestor. You can do a profile makeover. You can answer the question of the week. I mean, it's just one thing that you're putting your attention on. And I've seen profiles of Australian people. But imagine if I were every week trying to get profiles from Chile, nobody would be interested in that. And I have to accept that. I'm not comparing Chile to Australia. Please don't. But I'm here, so I'm satisfied with that. I'm representing my country. And you guys, Melody and Amanda, when you haven't been here, I think last week you weren't here, and you can tell that you're not. So please, we do notice you.
We miss you.
Yes, and teen times for you.
Yeah. Well, should we look at some pictures?
Yay!
Vicki, do you have your picture? Vicki, do you have your picture?
I do.
Oh, no.
I'll let one of you show yours. So we do have actually a one. Let's see. I should go back and share my screen, and I'll show our. I think it was Alexis who shared a photo because, as we've said, the theme for May is children. Entire screen, but we'll show Alexis's, and then we also thought it would be fun to show you ourselves. So Alexis wrote, I've used this 1917 Western Oklahoma photo before for the question school, since my grandmother is the teacher in white on the far left. So there's Alexis's grandmother. The reason I'm posting it again is because of the children. So many of them have obviously been doing manual labor in the hot and severe climate of Western Oklahoma. These were hard times trying to survive, and many of them will eventually load what few belongings they have and migrate to California. They will be called Okies, and John Steinbeck will write his famous book, Grapes of Wrath, about their plight. Yeah. Yeah, you look at a photo like this and you really have to wonder. I mean, we have like 20 children here. What happened? What are their stories after this day?
Their story would never occur today, because of regulations come in. It's so much more important that we understand their story to see why children are protected today.
Absolutely. So thank you, Alexis. And I'm going to just show you a photo of me. And I have titled, when I was a child, I've titled this Worst Hair Day Ever. Where
I think
is
you
it?
passed. No,
Did
you
I
passed
pass
it.
it?
Yeah, the first row.
Well, okay, here's me as a child. This is me. There was one. Yours was so adorable, Vicki. I was like, well, I gotta try and like stay.
I'll show it. Yeah, but that was not the photo that you showed us.
Yeah.
You're right.
Right. So this is me with my grandfather on one of his visits from Taiwan. So I being separated by such a distance, I just didn't get to see him as much as I would have wanted to. And of course, we had a language barrier too. So, but we were apparently quite attached. So, I'm gonna stop sharing. So you
wait, I gotta see the worst hair day.
Oh, let me look for it.
I got it.
Okay.
I got it.
You got it. Oh boy.
Yes. Yes. May I show?
Yes. Go ahead.
Let's see. Here we are. Now you see it?
Yep. There I am.
Yeah. You just woke up, it looks like. That's not very worst hair day.
Definitely. Worst hair day. Amazing.
And you, Vicki?
And mine, I opened.
Oh, you.
Let's see. Oh, there.
There you are.
Yes. There.
I love
there I am.
Details.
I see you in little you, or vice.
Yeah. Yes. Well, that's me. Do you see me?
I can recognize you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your eyes.
Well, at least the same color of the hair.
And sometimes kids change color of their hair.
That's
so
true.
That's pretty cool too. And then this is my kindergarten picture.
Oh,
wow.
I would not part with that outfit until I think I went to college, and I said, okay, it's time to let it go, because I love the outfit. It was one of those ones where the little thing was attached to the dress and everything.
Yeah.
And it was groovy 70s. And then shortly thereafter, my mom got tired of brushing my hair, because I never did. Pretty much still never do. And how many people, do you remember a product called No More Tears?
I remember. My mom didn't use it on me, but yes.
So my mom said enough and cut my hair into a bob, came home, and my dad never forgave her. So I have a picture to prove I had long hair back then.
So for Celebrate Your Ancestor in May, we have a special guest.
Yay!
Hello. I'm doing good. How are you?
Hi, Victor.
Yeah, welcome. So since Victor is such a regular in our audience, and he answered the G2G post about May ancestors, about his second great grandmother, I thought it would be fun to have him come on. So I'll put up her profile, Tabitha. There we go. So I'll turn it over to you, Victor.
I really don't know anything other than what is on there. Because her son, what's his name? If you can scroll down.
Yes, her son, Joel.
No, he's not my ancestor. William Henry is my ancestor.
Okay.
And I mean, he died before I was born, obviously. And he divorced my grandma or great grandma. So I barely know anything about that side of the family. I'm tracking down as much as I can. And Benjamin, Tabitha's wife, has gotten conflated with a Benjamin Franklin Rose from Effingham.
Oh, that's hard.
So I'm tracking down as much as I can, but it's hard. Early 1800s, Southern Illinois.
Right. Is that close to where you are, or?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, okay,
I'm
so you
St. Louis. White County is southeast Illinois. So I can drive over and look at stuff, but
Right.
And the marriage certificate has his parents' names. So I've gotten a little bit there, but from him, his life, I have almost nothing.
But now I noticed, I was looking at your source. Thank goodness you have the 1880 census, because that defines relationships. Any luck finding 1900 and 1910? Because that could be helpful.
I think Tabitha, I've got some. I haven't updated on there, but
yeah. But you also have a family Bible. That's wonderful. Yeah. And do you have it? Yeah.
That was given to my parents by my dad's mom's parents. So Mom and Pa Wisely. And them I did know.
Yeah.
I got to meet them. But
and it looks like it was presented on Christmas. What a Christmas gift. That's very nice. Yeah. So, and the connection to May, if I'm not mistaken, is that her second marriage was in May. So was that it?
I don't remember if it was her marriage or her birth.
Her birth. Let's see. Oh, yes. Well, marriage and birth. So, yes. So, belated happy birthday to Tabitha. Do you know what the B stands for?
Nope.
No. Okay. All right. Cool. Well, thank you for sharing Tabitha with us.
And hopefully I'll get her more updated for next year.
Yeah. Well, keep us updated. And we had one more. So Kevin Corcoran said that my paternal Irish immigrant was my great-grandfather, William Corcoran, who was born in Crisard Townland of County Louth, Ireland, and he immigrated to New York in 1850, fleeing the Irish as a result of the Irish potato famine. He came to New York, worked as an upstate New York, worked as an iron miner, built up a nest egg, and purchased land in the town of Beekmantown, and then became a farmer. He took a wife, and sadly, she died after giving birth to two daughters. In terms of how it ties into May, William then remarried Julia Gilroy in May of 1872. They had one child who turned out to be Kevin's grandfather. So he says, if not for the marriage of William and Julia, there would have been no more male Corcorans in this line and no me. So I raise a glass to William, Julia, and May. So, and there we have the profile. So thank you very much, Kevin, for sharing that. Great. Well, that's it for me. Oh, Vicki, you're muted.
Sorry, I had a neighbor that was drilling, so I had to mute myself. It sometimes happens on Saturdays. I'll share my screen. I have to say I am in depth. Last week I showed a profile makeover, a wonderful profile makeover by Ling Yang. Do you remember this guy, Charles J. Arnett, who died in Philippines after his airplane crashed at sea? Are you seeing? Yes, you're seeing it.
Yeah, we see.
Well, Lynn brought to my attention that, well, I just told the end of the story, that he crashed and he died at sea. He was killed in action. But I missed an important part of the story, and I want to share that with you to respect the great and amazing job that Lynn did. I have to say, well, they were in Philippines, and his crew were patrolling an area, and the plane ran out of gas. So they started circling, and they had no chance but to ditch the plane in the water. And Charlie said that the impact made a sound that he'd never forget. And well, fortunately, they lived to tell the story. But it's like a movie. They went out and hid in the jungle because there were Japanese troops around. But after 2 days of being hidden, they ran into 2 natives who told them that the Japanese went away, so they could go and find a rescue plane. But and they met up with a band of guerrillas, or as we say in Spanish, guerrillas, and they helped them, and they continued to find the rescue plane. And only 6 weeks after that, Charlie died at this other plane crash. So he had like a second chance. But this is really heartwarming. Charlie kept a scrapbook, and he kept notes about his experience at war. And he says, it was an experience that perhaps many before us have had, and perhaps many after us will, but I hope and pray that God will give them the break he gave us, that they could get back to the ones they love, and even back to the fight again. Fight for the thing they all love, freedom. Wow. But he never came back to the ones he loved. So thank you, Lynn, again for sharing this amazing profile. And the last profile I want to show you, remember the theme of the month was the sea.
Yes.
And I have a very creative profile makeover made by our Lisa J. Baez. She did the profile of someone named Ship. I'm not sure if I guess I didn't show this. But you see, this is the before picture. Now I'm starting to think maybe I did show it. No, but Lisa shared this yesterday. This was a before picture, part 1. This is part 2. There was no bio, only a couple of sources, and we had only a spouse and children. And you may think that maybe this profile makeover is not so spectacular as others, or as Charlie's,
Oh, it's much better. It's much.
But this is so much work, and this is such a difference from having nothing. So I always say, you don't have to be a writer, a bestseller writer, to make a great difference and make a profile makeover. Now we know the story of William Loftus, and not only we have a bio, but also, and we know that it takes work. Lisa added his mother and father, so now his profile is also connected with siblings. So it makes such a difference, and it takes just so little effort to do this and make this guy justice. And the neighbor is drilling again. Thank you, Lisa, for joining. And for the next month, Lin Young was my inspiration. I have to stop sharing. But I said, well, the next month is June. So I said, well, June means young. So there we have the theme. The theme is June. So June is a word that comes from the goddess Juno.
Right.
And Juno was the goddess, the Roman goddess of marriage, childbirth, and family. And also, her name comes from the Latin word Ionus. Eunus. Let me check that.
Like juvenile. I think it's the same root.
Eunus means young.
Yeah,
So, yeah, so if we connect all that concepts, we can make makeovers for a couple that maybe married young, maybe someone who has a beautiful picture of when they were young, maybe someone named young, maybe someone named June. So please be creative. I'll develop all that idea.
Yes, I
It
love
would be really great if people would also work on, remember the children profiles, those that died young. Sometimes they have nothing, nothing. And we can glean some things from, say, a death certificate or, a census, at least of where they were born or died and things like that. Sometimes they have nothing.
That would be an interesting challenge to make over the profile of someone that died young, because we usually have nothing about them.
Yeah.
So it will be interesting.
Yeah. And speaking of themes for the next month, the photo theme for June will be music.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
Well,
I have to, sorry, I have to mention the member of the week. Yes, we're still on time. Oh, share my screen again. We unfortunately, she was shy. She didn't want to come and meet us. But our member of the week is Linda Kersey, and I hope she would watch this. I told her to watch our livecast. Linda joined WikiTree in June 2022, and she's one of the highest contributing Friday date night participants. So thank you, June, for that, for all that. Linda, for all that hard work. And she, many of us, for what I've read, got interested in genealogy when they were assigned the homework of making a family tree. But she got interested when her children were given the assignment. So then she became to do genealogy old style. She says, searching for relatives was a slow process involving travel and snail mail. Imagine that. Wow. And now we have like a click and we have everything. Imagine having to wait for mail. And she likes to take fishing trips and hunting trips. And she loves the working with DNA. She started to work on WikiTree because she wanted to prove her DNA connections, and she appreciates the training videos that show how to accomplish the challenge. That's something that we usually don't mention, but we have a lot of tutorials and videos. And well, this is a short interview, so I don't have anything more to say about Linda, but I hope you know and you watch us, and you know we all congratulate you for being the member of the week.
Brava, Lynn. Linda. So,
Linda.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about what is going on in June on WikiTree. So we already have the what's happening around WikiTree in June post up in G2G. I'll drop as soon as I stop screen sharing. I'll drop that in the chat. But yep, we have 52 ancestors wrapping up. Well, I guess they will be finishing up their theme on reunions. Data doctors will be focusing on correct reference tags. So this is the place to come for all the the happenings online, the links and such. I'm going to go to social media. So let's see. The week of June 1st. Yeah, as we've mentioned, do you have Swedish roots? The surname that's being featured is Nielsen. Connection checkers will be looking at Swedish notables. One place studies will focus on Lillefrö. I'm sorry, Lillefrö Connemar in Sweden. Then the Sweden project is featured and highlighted. We don't know. I don't think we know who member of the week is yet, do we? Vicki, do we know?
No,
Not yet. There's a Friday date night. Come join Julie on Friday afternoons and help some profiles get dates so that we know when those people lived. Hall of Fame on Friday, rock and roll. And so this looks like one of our notables, perhaps, Foltskog 1. And then we'll be back next Saturday. So let me stop sharing. Come over to you, drop this in the chat. And do we have anything else to say?
Just the rockers. That starts tomorrow. Remember, rock is done every month. So yes. It's real special. And we have some very dear people to the roundup that are going to be rocked. We have Greg and Vicki are part of the rock. And Patty is usually in the live chats as well. And Patty's another one that's going to be rocked. And Kathy's been dropping their names in there. But I'm very curious. Are you curious, Vicki?
I'm so excited and also so grateful because first, Patty Waldron was the one who nominated Greg and me. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. And I'm so excited to see what will come up because you think, I'm from Chile. And it's also, I really appreciate that you take this challenge. But I have ancestors in Germany that need a lot of attention. So, yes, please do what I can. And I'll be completely in your hands.
And by the way, it's the community who signs up to be a rocker, which we're the ones who kind of help and dig and research and things like that. So sign up, have some fun.
Yeah. Steve Greenwood is also getting rocked, and he gives back a lot with the new members. So
yes, and thank you to all the team, all the volunteers, and Kathy, of course.
Kathy's doing an awesome.
Who's the manager? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So thank you. Yes, I have relatives in Australia too. Yes, Amanda is asking.
All right. Well,
yay.
Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. And we will see you next Saturday.
Yay.
Greg will be back. Yes. The math will be back.
Thank you for being with us.
Thanks for
love having you. All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.